and I go by Karl Dikington, and I've been involved in Concrete 5 community for about 4 years in about a week. That's my 4-year anniversary, I think, on the 23rd. Started off in the Concrete 5 community really knowing nothing about programming. So this whole process for me has been about learning how to program and become a developer. And one of the ways I've done that is by trying to help other people answer questions, and that sort of taught me how to be a developer in the same process. You know, it's sort of like learning by teaching.
What are you best at?
What am I best at?
Yeah.
I think part of it is customer service, sort of like dealing.
I mean, where are you from?
Oh, okay. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay. Nice. So, what do you do? I mean, you kind of already answered some question already, but what do you do mainly?
Let's see. I do mainly freelance client work, so that's everything from custom add-ons to blocks to themes, a little bit of everything. And what I'm trying to do is work into more advanced, more complex add-ons and standalone web applications, and seeing how I can balance the two, what I can use Concrete 5 for and what I can use maybe like Laravel for.
Okay. So how much percentage of the Concrete 5, non-Concrete 5 in your work?
Right now it's pretty much all Concrete 5.
Nice. So you kind of already mentioned it a bit. So what do you do with Concrete 5?
Right now, for paid work, it's, you know, client sites, and I work with a lot of designers and developers who are looking for someone who knows, has deeper knowledge of Concrete 5. So everything from custom templates to helping them accomplish something, or taking a site they developed and then turn it into a Concrete 5 site. But my main focus though with Concrete 5 is wanting to use it as a tool to work on my real passion focus is nonprofit and charity sites. So everything from like groups that work with animals to, you know, groups that work on like environmental issues, people trying to make a difference in the world and make the world better. And I want to try to use technology and Concrete 5 to help them with that.
Nice, nice, nice. So, when did you start? You kind of already said. So you started using the Concrete 5 like 4 years and 1 week ago.
Yeah.
Today is September 15th.
Yeah, I think it's the 23rd is my 4-year anniversary. So going from knowing next to nothing, I knew HTML and CSS and just PHP, but I really didn't understand really on a deep level what I was doing. So, and then it just went from there.
Okay, nice. So, what was your experience so far last 4 years? 4 years.
It's good. One of the things that's been great about Concrete 5 is that having the ability to make contributions to the core and use the core as sort of a classroom to learn from, and slowly progressing, starting small with like my first add-on was very basic, and then making something a little bit more complex, and then working on a pull request that does something a little bit more complicated. So it's been a great learning environment for me, and a lot of people, whether it's the PRB, contributing in an add-on and then getting really good feedback on best practices, or contributing something to the core, or learning from the core about how to do something. So for me, it's been sort of that informal education.
Nice, nice. So you kind of be an open source community of Concrete 5 was able to enable you to train yourself and improve yourself and go to the next level.
Yeah, there's a problem with, like, if you only do like classroom learning and you don't do projects, you don't really understand. So, like part of the day I would do study, go to php.net and learn about how things work in PHP. And then in Concrete 5, I would practice, use what I learned to make something real, like a project or you know, an add-on or a theme. So.
Awesome. Why made you start contributing to the Concrete 5 core more? Because I see you many GitHub pull requests and then documentation effort too. What made you start contributing to the Concrete 5 core? Because usually people say, no, I'm not good enough to be able, I don't have enough PHP knowledge. What made you to be able to push yourself to come forth?
Yeah, well, what's funny is I have a very severe case of imposter syndrome. So when I write code, I think, oh, this is no good, because I look at some of the other people writing code, like, oh, their code's so good. My code is just it's for like children write this. But I thought it was very interesting, the ability to use a tool like Concrete 5, and someone will say, like on the forum, I wish it did this, or it would be interesting, like if the page drafts had the date instead of just the title, and to figure out, okay, I can add the date, and to know that I have the ability to change something into, you know, to know that I'm making a change in a tool that all these people use. It's pretty neat. So the ability to make that impact, and I think maybe in a larger project I wouldn't have that chance.
Nice. So it's been like 4 years and a half, and what are you looking for? The future of Concrete 5 itself and the community. What are you looking for the community itself too?
Okay, so from Concrete 5, I'd love to see more people using it, because it's a really great tool, and I've spent a lot of time thinking about what can I do and what can other people do as the community to make it better. To like a big focus of mine has been documentation and onboarding. How can we make the documentation that everything you want to look up will be in documentation? So we'll answer all the questions, or a lot of questions. So more people can come to Concrete 5 that might have heard of it or found it in a search. Maybe they search for CMSs, and Concrete 5 is on that list, and they check it out, and they see, oh wow, there's all this documentation that I can just try and play with it and go, wow, this is great, and I can learn how to build things. So that's one of the things I want to focus on, is making it easier for people who don't know Concrete 5 or use Concrete 5 but haven't really done any building to show them how to build things. And also for me, it makes me better. Writing documentation and tutorials helps me learn things more thoroughly and in depth. I become better by teaching.
Nice, yeah, nice.
And ultimately, I want to be a better developer. I want to be like, you know, I see guys like John and Corvin, and you know, Michele. I want to be more like them. Just really good developers.
Nice. Cool. Thank you. So last question. So there is a Concrete 5 member who couldn't make it this conferences this time, and there is Concrete 5 non-Concrete 5 user member maybe watching this YouTube video. So would you give some recommendation for the Concrete 5? Can you give some kind of recommendation to those users, people?
Just know that the time that you put into Concrete 5 makes Concrete 5 better. And that means that, let's say, an added feature, or documentation, or answering questions, that all ultimately, it's like an ecosystem, that your contribution helps you. And that might mean money, because that's a client that is a happier client, or a client that you didn't have that you got. That the time that you put into it, you're going to get back in some way, by an easier product to use, or extra time because you spent less time working on a feature because it was just easier to work with. So, or even money, you know, getting clients and making happier clients.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay.